Darius Robinson has practiced every single day this week. Does that mean he makes his debut on Sunday, Johnny Venerable?
Plus, can the Arizona Cardinals, can they put this NFC West on ice with a dub while San Francisco, they're in disarray? We love to see it. How about a Football Friday? PHNX Cardinals now.
It's right now.
Hey, welcome in live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier Arizona Cardinal podcast. Like and subscribe, leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming here on a Football Friday. And we're going to talk some football with our friends at Bet365, the presenting sponsor here today. Download the Bet365 app, use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Find out why, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary with Bet365. Right now, Arizona Cardinals +1. Basically a pick 'em at Seattle. We're going to talk about that and more. First, I want to welcome my co-host in Studio K, Mr. Brack, Damon, Dawg, producer extraordinaire behind the mic, and of course, PHNX Cardinals beat reporter Craig Morgan, joining our first Football Friday preview show in a hot minute, Brack.
Yeah, it's been too damn long. The bye week, we made it through. We're on the other side of this thing, and next thing you know, it's Sunday morning. We're going to be sitting ourselves in front of the TV together at Gila River Resorts and Casinos at Wild Horse Pass, watching the first place Arizona Cardinals hopefully distance themselves from this muddled up NFC West, Johnny. But a lot to figure out between now and then. And I'm excited. I want to say hi to everybody in the chat. You're all my best friend. That's what my kid's all into now. You're either his best friend or you're not. And you're all my best friends. Sick of my job. I see you there. Matthew, the Rickety Bridge, it's Neo Man, Ozzy, Junior, Doc XD, Rudy, Edward, Doc XD. Giving some props to our one and only Damon Dawg. We'll get into this later in the show. Already on the board as far as our hold or fold the line.
No
goes.
big deal. No big deal. I promise it's really nothing that special, guys.
That's not a first segment discussion topic, please. Let's move on from that. Let's move on from Damon's victory last night as he's gloating in the text thread. But, congratulations, Damon, as the Browns beat the Steelers, and the Steelers are big-time road frauds, as Damon called it. Congrats to him. Congrats to all of you. This is the #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast in existence. Drop a like on this show. And boy, what a show do we have for you today. Bo, I got tipped off. Here's some sauces today on a Football Friday. Like 2.5 weeks ago that Darius Robinson was going to start ramping things up at practice. And they were going to see how big D-Rob's lower body was going to feel. Obviously, he had the bye week included there. But I was kind of told by people I trust, like Vikings at the earliest. So I didn't even come to a conclusion this week that Darius was going to have any possibility of playing. But then, man, oh man, I started getting courted, like I can so often do on Twitter, by you and PHNX Cardinals, of some videos of a violent man looking all the more ready to go as the 27th overall pick. So that's where we start the discussion today. Darius Robinson, SEC standout. Will he finally here on November 24th make his NFL regular season debut against the Seahawks? We thought no. Are you coming around to maybe yes?
How dare you turn me into you turn me into the wet blanket? Like, I used to be a beacon of hope on this show. I've always been somebody that people turn to for optimism. But you're going to turn me into this guy that says, I don't think so. I'm going to continue to say it's a long shot.
Wow.
I almost feel like it's unfair to say that the door is ajar, that's going to happen potentially on Sunday. But look, I mean, according to where he stands as far as the injury report going into the game, he's questionable for the first time. He's not just ruled out like he's been since they put him on the active 53-man roster before his window closed a couple of weeks ago. but I still think that it's a long shot that we see Darius Robinson in the lineup. Like, I see him out there at practice every day. He's got an entire week of practice under his belt for the first time during the regular season. And he looks every bit as good as he did in training camp and in preseason action. But this is an organization that has never been quick to pull the trigger to put players back on the playing field coming off of injury.
Josh Weinfuss of ESPN, who we're friendly with, he's been on this show many times, said in a tweet today, in a video, that Darius Robinson looked poised to return this weekend. I'm paraphrasing, looks ready to make his debut. But he prefaced that by saying the injury report's got to come out. Of course, we're going to talk about that, limited all week. And so everybody's kind of hedging their bet like, he looks ready to play. Bo thinks he's ready to play. I think he looks pretty good. But will the Cardinals take immense caution with their long-term investment? Can they deem it a winnable game without Darius Robinson? And I think they will deem it, yes, this is a winnable game without D-Rob. So I will be that wet blanket with you. I put it out there just as a feeler tweet to everybody, quote tweeting PHNX Cardinals, basically saying, Darius looks great. Let him have another great week of practice, then unleash him against the Minnesota Vikings next week. And I was met with a bombardment of, wrong, you're not a trainer. He's playing this weekend. He looks great. Get him out there. I love that energy. I want to be wrong. Nobody wants to be more wrong than me. I'm the most humble man on this face of this Cardinal planet, these Cardinal Twitter streets. But I don't think he's going to play. I think the Cardinals are going to, again, have immense caution. And if you look good this week, great. They're going to build off of it next week. So I will go 51% he doesn't play, 49% he does play. That's where I'm at.
Very political, playing both sides of the aisle there. Just, very fraudulent on your behalf. But look, I'm with you. We called it a coin flip earlier. Jonathan Gannon today wouldn't give us much. He really wouldn't even rule out Jalen Thompson, where I thought the writing was completely on the wall. The guy hasn't practiced all week. It's like, you'll see the injury report. You guys can jump to your own conclusions, basically. Darius Robinson has been limited all week. Gannon, when talking about Jonah Williams, when talking about players who are in the return to play situation that Williams has been in, and we've seen players who've returned from injured reserve be in, where they're working with the training staff and trying to get back. They're all their own separate case. Nobody's the same. All injuries are different. All body types are different. People's responses are different. But I think just given all the evidence in this case, it doesn't point to Darius Robinson as this unique exception to, for lack of a better term, the Cardinals rule as far as that goes. So I am going to say, I think that he is a long shot that he plays, but it continues to be very, very encouraging that the guy was practicing all week and did look significant, just as good as he did before. So I'm working with some sleds today. There was a couple of technique slip-ups. He had to get back in the drill a couple times. It's not like, oh, is there something wrong with Darius Robinson? Is this going to be like Jonathan Cooper 2.0, where you have a top first-round pick and, he looks awesome in preseason and gets injured and is never the same afterwards? Like, no, I think that he's just getting back into the flow of it, and that's the whole thing. Like, there's a difference between being healthy. As Gannon says, you got your 5 buckets. You got your health bucket. You got your football bucket. You got this and that. He's got the health bucket now full, but now he has to get his other buckets full in order to put himself in a position to play.
Do the Cardinals need Darius Robinson to win this game, Bo Brock?
No.
Okay. That's the question we need to ask. Like, Darius is going to be a really good player for them. We've talked about it. The Cardinals felt like over the course of the summer, he was there along with Marvin, like their most impressive rookie prospect that was in their building. We saw it with our own eyes at training camp. Are they going to fudge that up after they've waited this long? I don't think so. And I think Darius behind the scenes has been pushing to play. I think this week especially, let me get out there. Let me get back to doing what I love. And I think they're going to say one more week, young man. Especially you talk about like the conditions in Seattle may or may not be great. And then you're going to play in a dome the next 2 weeks, right? You're going to play in Minnesota and you're going to play in Arizona here at a home game against Seattle. So yeah, I agree, LVL7, it would help. And I think that's why all of us are like, oh my goodness, the NFC West is up for grabs and Darius, D-Rob could return. But I also feel like you are coming off, Bo, a lengthy bye week. And it's felt like forever. And you've had 2 weeks off. That's 2 weeks off for Dante Stills and LJ Collier and Zaven Collins and Baron Brown in to get up to speed. And, Tunga and everybody else and Roy Lopez.
There he is.
There he is. Empty the clip with those guys. Send everybody at Geno Smith, right? Unleash the horses here. Blitz Buda Baker. Everybody get dirty and nasty at the line of scrimmage. And then you welcome back Big D-Rob next week against, a fledgling Sam Darnold. But I will go on the no. I don't think Darius Robinson plays this week, but that's not the only Cardinal that may or may not play. How about Jalen Thompson? Bo, let's check out the injury report this week for our precious Redbirds. Even after a bye, we still got some guys banged up.
Yeah, we love JT, and unfortunately, Jalen Thompson has been ruled out a second consecutive game with an ankle injury that popped up late in practices gearing up for the Jets game and has been on the shelf since. He's been working out on the side. That's where he was today, but he will not be at his usual safety spot again. And that brings in Rabbit Taylor Demerson, who was a full participant today. You can see him at the bottom of the injury report here. A back issue flared up, but he is good to go and will not miss out on another opportunity to play 100% of the snaps like he did against the Jets and continue to become a fan favorite from this organization as a 4th-round pick out of Texas Tech. We've been all about Rabbit in the preseason, and then he bided his time between now and then, and he's ready to go a second consecutive start.
Taylor Demerson was impressive, very impressive against the New York Jets. And he got his football on what should have been an interception of Aaron Rodgers in the end zone.
Yeah.
Should have picked that ball off. Like, would it surprise anybody if Taylor Demerson had an interception of Geno Smith? It would not surprise me at all.
It's been too long between picks. When was the last interception the Cardinals had? Was it Green Bay?
Sean Murphy bunting against the Packers?
Yeah.
And that was like a throwaway pick. Yeah, usually picks come with a pretty good pass rush, and Cardinals don't have that. But I think they've got high-end defensive back play. Geno Smith wants to give the ball to the other team, and we're going to talk about that right around the corner with our Seahawks scouting report here on PHNX Cardinals. Everybody, be sure to drop a like on this video. Drop a like with our friends at Bet365. I've been perusing around the app all day today, Brock. Not just the Cardinals line, which I love. A lot of people think Cardinals are grossly undervalued. Some of these other lines I like. Vikings -3.5 at Chicago. Bears are toast. I like the over. Lions, Colts at 50. How about a little bit of Carolina Panthers? Could they cover 11 points? Plus 11, hosting Kansas City. So much good stuff right now with our friends at Bet365, our premier favorite sports betting app. All you got to do, download the app today. Use the bonus code PHNX365 when you sign up. Deposit just $10 in your account, then bet them your 5 spot. Go throw it on the Cards money line because guess what? You're a winner regardless. $150 in bonus bets. Maybe don't bet on the Phoenix Suns for a hot minute. They need a breather, but everything else is cooking. NBA, college basketball, college football, a little BYU ASU action in just a day. Download the Bet365 app. Use the bonus code PHNX365. Again, when you sign up, $5 get you $150. Find out why, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary with Bet365, but you do have to be 21 years and older, physically located here in the great state of Arizona. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, wants help, call 1-800-NEXT-STEP. Text NEXT STEP to 53342 or visit problemgambling.az.gov, Bo, for more info.
Damon's got a hot betting tip for you as far as that BYU ASU game. We'll get it for him in just a bit, but I got to tell you about our friends over at Circle K. Yeah, you're headed to that game. You're going to tailgate, maybe load up at America's Thirst Shop and save while doing so. Did you take advantage of their 40 cents off per gallon yesterday? It was unbelievable. If you did, tip of the cap to you that you're already a member of the Inner Circle. If you're not, what are you doing? You're just burning money at this point. It's a free membership app that you can use through the Inner Circle app. Just sign up for free, download the Circle K app, and you'll start to make savings, especially at the pump. 25 cents per pump on your first 5 fill-ups and 3 cents per gallon after that. 5 cents, another echelon you get after that. And you're getting savings in the Thirst Shop as well in the convenience store. Don't waste any more time. Go save at Circle K. Download the app. See the CircleK.com for all the details. Restrictions do apply.
Speaking of details, let's go back to that injury report. Mr. Damon Dawg. Cardinals relatively healthy. What about the Seattle Seahawks? They're going to be without Brady Russell, tight end. Noah Fant looks like he's going to play. Seahawks relatively healthy.
Yeah.
Minus, Tyler Lockett and company. But again, on paper, you've been banging this drum, Bo. Regardless of who they may trot out there, this is not a great team. This is a pretty average Seahawks team that doesn't, to your point, do anything well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was nice to see Leonard Williams get back on the practice field for the Seahawks today. He was a full participant dealing with a foot issue. That's a big addition that I don't know if it was ever truly in doubt, but he's one of their better players, somebody that they re-signed, prioritized re-signing this offseason, someone we looked at on this show is a potential upgrade on the defensive front, but he'll be in there, it looks like. But yeah, I mean, they are relatively healthy and they're going to be, but they are an extremely flawed roster. And I think that the marriage between the new coaching staff and the players that they have, the personnel, there's just been a little bit of herky-jerky. This has been an undisciplined team, albeit that they knocked off a bunch of the penalties last week against the San Francisco 49ers. But there's a full, 9 games of that tell a different story. So consistently, they've been inconsistent. And it's just kind of like, it's the meme where the lady's like disgusted and then she's kind of intrigued. I think that's the Seattle Seahawks season right there, right? Yeah, I mean, they've got their number. Right, exactly. Oh. I just think that their passing attack, great. But then it's like 27th against the run, going into this week, 3rd again in penalties. But then it's like they draw some of the most. There's been 160 penalties between the Seahawks and their opponents this year. So there's just a lot of laundry on the field. Their games are gross. So can the Cardinals avoid getting in that and up in Seattle, which the weather looks like it's going to be gross too?
It's just a gross team. Can we just say that? And they're not as good as the Cardinals. The Cardinals have a better coach, quarterback, and I think overall roster right now.
Yeah.
Seattle, to me, listen, this is overdue for Arizona for a couple different reasons. I posted this on Twitter. Kyler Murray hasn't beaten the Seahawks since October of 2020, pandemic style, in that overtime game. Remember when Isaiah Simmons got that pick of Russell Wilson? That was the last time.
Was that when he arrived officially? Was that the arrival of Isaiah Simmons?
Isaiah Simmons, special team extraordinaire. Yeah, absolutely. And then the last time this Cardinal team as a whole has beaten Seattle, thankfully, it wasn't the finale last year that got a sweet baby Marvin Harrison Jr. It was 2021. I remember the game. Colt McCoy on the road beating Seattle. I think Zach Ertz had 2 touchdowns in that game. McCoy beating the Niners and the Seahawks on the road to really help the Cardinals make the postseason. But yeah, they haven't beaten them in 2022 or 2023. Now, last year, Joshua Dobbs kind of wet the bed and they lost an ugly game at Seattle. And then the finale they controlled against Pete Carroll in week 18. And then, maybe there was a call to the bat phone like, hey guys, pump the brakes. We need that sweet, sweet top 4 pick. And the rest is history, but it's overdue now. Cardinals are a serious franchise again. Here's what scares me for Seattle. I think it scares everybody else. The trio of Kenneth Walker, Jaxon Smith-Njigba, DK Metcalf, right? Yeah. DK Metcalf, Brian Baldinger was on. He's a big time deep threat, 15.2 yards per catch. And again, if those players are allowed to run wild, then we got an issue. Geno Smith, speaking of running, looked good running the football last week. He's averaging 5.6 yards per carry this year. Cardinals have to make Geno Smith uncomfortable. He will turn the ball over. And if he does that and the Cardinals can lean into what they do, their identity of running the football, then the Cardinals are going to win this game. But listen, the Cardinals are not good enough to go to Seattle and screw around and turn the ball over and come out victorious. So that's why I feel so confident with who's leading this team. Like in the past, you'd say, oh yeah, the Cardinals, if they come out flat, Cliff style or Steve Wilkes style, they're going to get blown out. When's the last time we've seen a Jonathan Gannon team be flat? I mean, probably at Green Bay, and that was probably a differentiating, metric of personnel. Huge roster issues. Like right now, the Cardinals have a better roster than Seattle. Like they're just a better team top to bottom. And if they want to win the division, which is right there, and we're going to talk about that here in a second, go and beat Seattle and put everything else to bed.
I mean, this is a team that is undisciplined. Their offensive line is not in a great spot. They haven't run the ball successfully or consistently all season, even though I think a lot of people like Kenneth Walker at one time last year when I asked Jonathan Gannon, who is kind of their primary player on offense. And he said number 9. They've gotten away from Kenneth Walker to throw the football. Maybe it's because during that stretch they were throwing the ball, chasing leads. But if the Arizona Cardinals can get Geno Smith into the same sort of disarray that he was in the season finale last year, they'll win this game more handily than having to put their field goal kicker in a position to, ice the game or kick a game winner. Like they should have an easy win. I mean, he went 16 for 28 for 189. He did have 2 touchdowns and no picks, but he was inaccurate. Like the Cardinals with that 4-man rush was able to generate enough pressure to take old pedestrian Geno Smith and make him look below average. That's what it goes. Like when you got a good quarterback and you generate pass rush and he becomes pedestrian, that's good. When you've got a pedestrian quarterback and you got a good pass rush, then he looks below average. And I think that's what's going to be some key to success for the Cardinals on Sunday.
Yeah, Shane Waldron's now walking through that door for Geno under Shane.
Good thing.
50 touchdowns, 20 picks this year under their new regime. 11 touchdowns, 11 picks.
Well,
so,
like you mentioned that 30, right? And then he goes down to 20. And now he's got 11 touchdowns through 10 games this season? I mean, he's going to have under 20 passing touchdowns probably. But he's just slowly declining. He's already in his mid 30s, right? He is who he is at this point. Like he is a fringe. He's a starter, but he's a fringe starter.
I mean, this team lost to the New York Giants at home. Like they hosted Daniel Jones and lost to them at home. Like, I mean, the Cardinals need to win this game. Will they win this game? It's going to be imperative because I think you and I are in agreement. I think San Francisco is on the verge of ending their season on Sunday. Now, sans Brock Purdy and Nick Bosa pour one out. You hate to see that. Good luck. And then the LA Rams, very viable, hosting the Philadelphia Eagles, who are missing Devontae Smith. I don't want to be sitting here on Monday with the Cardinals opening the door to those teams, dead or alive, saying, oh my goodness, it's a dogfight. No. Put the division on ice. Regardless of what happens again in Minnesota, win your division games, beat the teams you're supposed to beat, and it's going to take care of itself. The Niners are done. The Niners are losing to Green Bay. They're losing to Buffalo. Put them to bed. And then if you beat the Seahawks, it's a done deal even before you play the Rams.
You improve the 3-0 in the division with, as you mentioned, a Vikings game on the road. It's going to be tough. And then you come back, hopefully at home, against the team that you just disposed of 2 weeks prior. That would put them in the driver's seat for the division. It really would. And then even post your second game against Seattle for the season, you've got 2 very winnable games against the Patriots and the Panthers. Mm-hmm. If you just take care of business, say you get this win this weekend, at the very least, going into week 17 and 18, you've got 9 wins. I mean, that would be an unbelievable spot for the Arizona Cardinals. At the very least, 9 wins.
Can I get to 2 comments? I love this comment from Ryan H. Thanks for coming out, Niners. Yep. Have a great year. Take care. Brandon Allen, not good at football. 2-7 at Green Bay.
Disrespectful to the Dobbs father.
I know, right? Let's get Joshua
to
Dobbs out there. He might see some time. I would not be surprised. He got a couple, carries, possessions here and there. I riveting stuff watching the Dobbs father out there. And then Doc XD called me out on my BS. Johnny, didn't you say that the Rams were dead? Basically saying, why am I calling them viable now? I do think they're dead. I don't think there's been a team that's more dead than them. But you know how this national media narrative goes. If Cardinals lose and the Rams win, get that off the screen. We don't need to look at that.
We're going to run out of space here. I think, next Rams loss, Bo, we're probably going to have to pop down when they came back alive and then died again. And then maybe we have room for one more after that. But I'm thinking we only really have 2 more spots left.
When are
Michael Myers?
Yeah.
Their hand, you got to put like a hand just popping up from the dirt there. It's not dead yet.
I'm the only one who had the courage to call them dead before they were dead.
If it's courage, or are you a bit naive?
Stupidity, maybe. They haven't that's the thing about the Niners, the Seahawks, and the Rams. They haven't beaten anybody. They're beating these joke bottom dwellers, and people are like, oh, look out for them in the second half. Yeah. Why? Because the Rams beat the Patriots. They lost to the Dolphins. They beat the Raiders by 5 points. They were losing against the Raiders the entire game. I watched that game. It was like bleach in the eyes. But here's the issue is Puka Nacua looks good. They have some offensive linemen, and then they've got, Cooper Kupp. So I am making a pledge right now. Please, football gods, give Nick Sirianni the strength to not be an idiot this weekend and to find a way to win this game. I just feel like, Damon, I want to bring you in on this. What are the odds that Nick Sirianni isn't a complete and total buffoon at LA? I'm giving it about a 1%.
That it just feels like Sean McVay is going to coach circles around that.
Oh my God, absolutely,
man. I mean, it's that one. That's like saying, hey, I hope the family member who's always a nuisance at Thanksgiving dinner isn't going to drink too much.
Get it together, Uncle Bobby. Put the Jim Beam down.
An utter mess that nearly ruins everybody's Thanksgiving. Like,
is Uncle Jim really going to talk politics again?
Uncle Jim Bob, put the whiskey down. There's kids here. That's Sirianni. Sirianni, keep it together, bro. You've won 6 straight. You have a good team. I saw Devontae Smith out today. I'm like, what the Devontae Smith? Get in there, rub some dirt on it.
No,
they play in that Joker NFC East, so they're just like, whatever. No, we need the Rams to be done.
What's a win on Sunday for the Rams mean to you?
If the Cardinals lose, let's just assume the Cardinals.
No,
doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right. So looking at the Rams schedule, Damon, let's pull it up here. Because they have, I mentioned this off air today. The New York Times has new odds out for the NFC West winner. Cardinals are an overwhelming favorite, like 60%. The Niners and Seahawks are both dead. They're in the teens, low teens. They've got the Rams odds to win the division at 26%. To win the division, make the playoffs, whatever. If the Rams win this week and then they play the Saints, who are kind of feisty, and is that game in New Orleans? I think it is. And they go from 5-5 to 7-5. We're going to be sweating here. But then they have to play Buffalo, and then they have to play the corpse of the Niners. So the Cardinals just need to keep their head down and work, and no one does that better than the man on the left of this graphic. I'm like, as much as people are having the rum-tums about the second half of this year, look who's leading this team. This is not, Joe Blow from Texas Tech, respectfully. That's a real coach. And this guy, when he was asked about playoffs in a press conference, what was that, a week ago? He was like, I don't care. Don't ask me about that. And I'm like, that was Saban-esque from Jason.
Yeah. Joe Blowsbury.
Not to name names, but what hypothetically, if you were to hire a coach from Texas Tech,
it's Joe Blowsbury.
Yeah.
Collapse.
By the way, Washington's losing to the Cowboys this weekend. I've already called it. It's happening.
I don't know about that. We need to check in on the hold the fold.
Yeah, actually, that's interesting you brought that up, Johnny. I updated our hold the fold standings.
Oh, I bet you did. Yeah, free time today. Start updating your wins. That's key.
Yeah. So I just decided to update mine. Obviously, I got Bo's wrong last time, so I fixed his, got his the proper amount. And
what kind of tomfoolery he's doing?
I just happened to chalk on a loss for you this week. I'm already chalking it up. Obviously,
you're gonna have to eat this graphic, young man. You're gonna be on air next week when the Washington Commanders lose. We're gonna get a camera on you, and you got to do a public apology. This is not within the best interest of the segment. Predetermining graphics, I don't like it.
I just feel comfortable doing that already. So I'm just gonna
you're the worst. I hate you. You're the worst.
Mine is 4.8 for Johnny.
I do like Bo's money bags are gone. That's nice. I like that.
Johnny's gonna be like Danny Dimes at the podium yesterday, just talking about how he wished it had gone better. His entire career on hold the line.
Is that not the saddest thing you've ever seen though? Poor Danny Dimes. Hey, Daniel, can you go play scout team safety? And he's like, my agent, get me out of here. Get me out of this Loserville with the Maras. I'm siding with Danny Dimes on that.
Okay. Yeah. I'll dry his tears with $100 million bills that he's got, that he swindled into him. That was unbelievable. That was Sam Bradford-esque highway robbery. What Danny Dimes was able to parlay a 22 total touchdown performance into that contract and $20 million in dead money. Danny Dimes, dare I say or ask, take the temperature of the room?
I was told on Twitter that Daniel Jones was better than Kyler Murray for at least 18 months. And I seriously considered quitting the app at that time. because I knew it to be false.
Yeah.
And I was the bigger person, and I just put my head down and grinded through the tweets, through the lean years. And here we are, Kyler Murray third in QBR, first in the NFC in QBR, Daniel Jones unemployed. We're going to talk more about that and how I was right about a great many things around the corner here on PHNX Cardinals. Danny Dimes has got his money right. What about you? Do you think Danny Dimes is with Desert Financial? If he was smart, he would. He's got that Duke education. It's the official credit union of PHNX Sports, the Arizona Cardinals, and the Venerable household. I'm smart. I got Desert Financial. They're big-time players to help you achieve your financial goals and dreams. Check them out right now for checkings accounts, savings accounts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, investment options, and more. Plus, if you're an Arizona sports fan, no better place to do your banking than Desert Financial Credit Union. Again, they got a team of experts ready to help you right now today. This is not a one-off transaction. This is a financial education. Up your acumen today. Show your team spirit. Represent the Red Sea with the Arizona Cardinal Visa debit card. Open up a free checking account online. Get your debit card a couple days after the fact. Takes a matter of minutes. Just go to desertfinancial.com/CardinalsBo to get started. Plus, if you're a member of the Red Sea, you'll want to enter the Desert Financial Bird Gang. Yes, sir. Bird Gang giveaway sweepstakes. Getaway sweepstakes. You could win a prize pack that includes 4 tickets to a Cardinals away game coming up later in December, on December 29th, plus round trip airfare, hotel accommodations up to 4 people, plus 4 2-day theme park passes, a $2,000 Visa gift card so you can play like a pro. Get in on the game. Enter today, desertfinancial.com/giveaway, Bo.
The task, the project of new flooring is always daunting, but it doesn't have to be, thanks to our friends over at Empire Today. You can immediately start to save $350 on your flooring adventure with our friends over at Empire Today. They'll give you $350 off just by being a viewer or listener of this podcast right now. Go to empiretoday.com/PHNX. They're going to make it easy. They're going to make it quick. They're going to make it convenient. And you're going to learn a thing or two because as far as their professionals are concerned, they're going to give you all the insight that you need, all the details, all the info that you need in order to make the best decision to figure out what the flooring is going to be, the carpeting is going to be in your dwelling, your apartment, your condo, your house, your rental property, whatever needs flooring upgrades. You can check it out. Use your smartphone while doing so. Just take a picture of the flooring and you'll use their virtual floor designer. You can get a look at what it's going to look like in your setting. Go check it out right now and save some money while doing so as you start your new flooring adventure. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. Listeners get that $350 discount when they use the promo code PHNX. Restrictions apply. See empiretoday.com/PHNX for all the details.
Drop a like on this video. Again, a preview Friday. We got over 700 people watching. We need 700 likes from you good people on your #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Speaking of #1, go to your podcast feed right now. Spotify, Apple, iTunes, whatever is your flavor. Search PHNX Cardinals. Give us a follow. And if you're so inclined, leave us a 5-star review. We got Craig Morgan right around the corner. Let's jump into some of these super chats beginning.
Can I give a quick shout out real quick? Here's a super chat you can get for free by, of course, subscribing to PHNX Cardinals on Apple Podcasts. Nick 5121 on Monday gave us a 5-star review. He said, not a huge podcast listener, but these guys are the best and listen to them every day. Keep up the awesome work and go Cards. Thank you so much, Nick. We appreciate you. And as we mentioned earlier this week, you drop a review right there on Apple Podcasts. We will read it on air. We will prop it up and give you all your flowers because you deserve them. It does us wonders when you drop a review in there.
Nick on Twitter, also, I'm not sure if it's the same Nick, posted the amount of minutes he listened to this podcast. I think Nick G on Twitter, 4,600 minutes listened to on Twitter this year by our guy Nick. So big thank you to Nick, loyal listener.
Was that his Spotify Wrapped?
I think so, yeah. So those
couldn't be like, then he would be doing it on multiple platforms there, but
I guess, yeah. So he posted that. So big thanks to Nick G32 on Twitter. We appreciate you, my guy. We appreciate everybody here. Yeah. We're having a really, really big year on this show because of all of you. So your support is amazing, and we're able to get the Mina Kimes of the world because of things like likes, comments, downloads. It's all you got to do. Drop us a like, leave us a 5-star, and we will continue to try to get the best people. People have been asking for Kyle Brandt. We're working on that. People have been asking for insiders. We're going to do that in the off season. How about this? Who is this?
It's Jake, your nephew.
My nephew Jake, who's with my parents this weekend. What's up, Jake? Thank you supporting the show. Now tell Grandma and Grandpa, drop a super chat. Quit being stingy. Speaking of super chats, let's get into these. Joey Kennedy, $1.99. Maybe I'm crazy, but the card should be 14.5. Wow, I hate that. I think most people feel like both the Cardinals go into Seattle and play their kind of football game, like they could blow out the Seahawks. Is that nuts?
No, I mean, we've seen it already on display a couple times. I mean, this could be a Pittsburgh style game that we saw last year where they went into, inclement weather, a hostile environment, and they made it a laugher.
Yeah.
It was a little tight early on, and then they pulled away at the end. Could that be what's on tap come Sunday, 14.5? That'd be right around there.
Don't forget. Go ahead, Damon.
That was me.
Okay.
I was just getting to the next super chat. Finish your thought.
Don't forget, the Cardinals were supposed to lose to the Bears and the Jets once upon a time and won those games big. Like, are we going to find out were those blips because those are bad teams, or is that closer to who the Cardinals are? Do they just blow teams out now? Like, hopefully that's our new reality where they just do that every week. Go ahead.
Illadre, very kind super chat. $1.99, best podcast hands down. Thank you, my guy.
Keep dropping those likes. Turtle Trolls, $1.99. Hope we see D-Rob feast on the sea chickens this Sunday. Well, we opened the show with that. We got to get Craig's opinion on that here in about 10, Bo. But I mean, like, I don't think either one of us are sitting here saying, like, we're going to be shocked if he plays, right? I think we're leaning toward he's not going to play. But if we wake up and the inactives come out, and we're with our friends at Gila on Sunday, it's like, that's awesome. I'm glad that he expedited it this week and not surprised that he's playing.
If he plays this week, that means he showed out in practice.
Yeah.
That means he forced the issue. And that, I mean, we would be borderline giddy. If not, I mean, we'd be throwing a party at Gila River if we knew that the Cardinals' 27th overall pick was going to make his long-awaited debut.
I mean, yeah, the party on top of the party that we got going on there.
Turtle Trolls brings up something that I thought was interesting with the sea chicken whole, moniker. We were talking a little inside baseball. We were talking with Mina Kimes, and she asked us if Cardinals fans, like, who they hated the most in the division. And I feel like we all kind of didn't have the heart to tell her. But to me, it really does feel like the Seahawks. I know Johnny said the Niners, but like the Sea Chickens is like, everybody calls them that. Like, Britain hates the Seahawks more than any of the other teams, I'm pretty sure.
I don't think that they're like their fan base. They show up, the 12s. It pains me to see them. I think it's the dumbest thing ever when they've got the 12 jersey on and it says
loser
fan on the back.
That makes me think you're a loser.
Yeah. So it's not as insufferable as 49ers fans are. 49ers, yeah. I think I'm genuine when I say that 49ers are the worst fan base in the NFC.
I mean,
West. Also, I'd just say they're kind of scumbags. Can we say that? Like, a lot of 49er fans are kind of scumbags. No, like, I'm being serious. Like, I think Seattle fans, like, there are periods like Legion of Boom where, like, I hate the Seahawks and Richard Sherman, but like, I've never like had any animosity against their fans. And the Rams don't have real fans. They just moved to LA. They don't exist. I feel like I'm being straight with everybody. Like, when I see videos of Niner fans, like, in other stadiums, they're always fighting fans. Yeah. They're always fighting people. So I'm always like, I would never take my son to a Niner game and sit amongst Niner fans because they're loud and they pick fights and they're kind of scumbaggy. Sorry.
There's a lot of them here. Yeah. A lot of them here in Arizona, obviously. I think that's fair. Is there is there a discrepancy there? Like, the Seahawks are the team that we hate the most, but
it's the Niners.
Niners are the fans we hate the most? Because it really does feel like those Cardinals Seahawks battles.
Absolutely. Like, back when under Bruce Arians, if you ask Britton Golden, I think the same question on Sunday for the pre-post halftime show, he'll tell you he probably hated the Seahawks. I don't want to speak for Britton.
I think he has said that before.
Yeah. By the way, you see Britton Golden hang out with the Cy Young Award winner the other day?
Does he think he's better than us? Is he trying to upgrade our friendship here?
Eric Scooble get his award, and in the background, I see BG hanging out.
That's hilarious. I didn't know that. I'm
Leonardo DiCaprio. I'm like, that's BG.
He'll text Damon and I, and he'll be like, I won't be coming. I'm too big for this show now. I'll be like, it's true. I think here's the hierarchy. I dislike Sean McVay the most. of all the 3 coaches, because he's just been Sean McVay daddy to the Cardinals up until JG arrived. I dislike the Niners as a franchise the most, but then the Cardinals have actually always played the Niners relatively well. Like, we haven't had these big gaps of outside of last year when the team was openly just stripping it down. Most years the Cardinals get a dub against San Francisco. Even Cliff swept Kyle Shanahan. Steve Wilkes swept Kyle Shanahan. The Niner fans, though, are the worst. They're the worst people. When they put those jerseys on, maybe not in their private life, hopefully, but when they come to State Farm Stadium, just not great human beings. I don't want anything to do with them. Get them away from me and my family. I'm sorry.
I don't look. You don't have to apologize here. You don't have to apologize.
Scumbag behavior. Let's get back to these super chats here. Greg 199. K1 going to be second bomb cyclone in Seattle this week. What does that mean?
Bomb cyclone is the weather that they're dealing with up there.
I like it.
Sounds terrifying.
Can't do hurricane jokes. That's not our best.
Pretty nice place to live. You got something called a bomb cyclone hitting the.
Do you know what the weather's supposed to be this weekend?
I think it's 60% chance of rain. I think it's a little bit. It's better than what it's been. But yeah, they're gonna be in some conditions.
Who do you think is better equipped to handle that?
Like Geno or Kyler?
Just both teams.
Oh, I mean, I think as far as the Cardinals especially in the offensive trenches, I think they're more geared up to do that.
I think they want to muck it up. Reezy baby, $2. Cards win by 17 plus. Rams lose. 49ers might not score. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's possible. It really is possible that Brandon Allen, he's probably got 2 career starts under his belt.
I thought I saw he was 2-7 in his career.
Oh, 2-7. Oh, that's a good.
I don't know
record.
Great record. You're on though. I could be lying. Can I just say does anybody want to guess the revised line, or did it get removed? No, it's back. You guys want to guess this line? Niners at Packers afternoon kickoff.
I would say Packers 6.5
in the snow too. And Brandon Allen's playing. If it's 6.5, I'm putting everything I own on that.
Yeah.
Even though the Packers lost me 6.5 last week, I'm gonna say 8.5.
Packers is 5.5 right now.
Wow.
How is that possible? And Trent Williams may not play. He's like a game time decision.
No Nick Bosa, right?
Nope.
I gotta figure out what to do with George Kittle in fantasy. There ain't no way that's working.
I gotta think too. The Packers have to have a vindictive effort against San Francisco. They should have beaten the Niners in the postseason last year. Them and the Lions, they got losses coming their way. Alberto 999. We're exercising both demons this season with a strong finish. National media won't be able to hang old narratives over our heads anymore. Cards win 27-17.
I love that. And I think that Gannon and Kyler Murray and this entire crew have done an incredible job in exercising a lot of those demons. And it started last year when they did go on the road to Pittsburgh and then inclement weather, and they just took care of business. And then they did it again in Philadelphia. And then they continue to do it as they traveled east. And, the old narrative, they can't play in Eastern time zones or early kickoffs, or, they can't get it together at home, or they just continue to do it. They can't beat McVay. They continue to change the narrative, rewrite them. So, the national media can't hang on to them any longer and point and put it as a negative for this organization.
Speaking of changing the narrative, my nephew Jake is back, and he's back not empty-handed. $9.99 super chat from Grandma and Grandpa. Thank you so much, Jake. Big shout out to my nieces and nephews that are with my family out east, enjoying some time with Grandma and Grandpa. So thank you all.
Well, you can expect no Christmas check this year. There it is.
That's true. That's it.
Super chat.
My parents always ask me, they're like, where does that super chat money to go? Does that go to you? And I'm like, no.
Yeah. It lines our big fat pockets, doesn't it?
Yeah. Everybody drop a like on this video. We got Craig right around the corner, and we're going to talk about how pivotal this game is for JG and company. That's coming up next here on PHNX Cardinals. But first, I'm going to ask Bo to do the Blue Chew read because my nieces and nephews are watching, and I'm going to try to be the respectful uncle here.
Yeah, you can tell them to maybe earmuffs it a little bit because look, we're getting into Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Time to maybe put yourself in a position to make memorable moments, right?
Sure.
Are we talking about that? Taking the lights down maybe after a nice dinner or so. And you want to leave a lasting impression. The only way to do that is with our friends at Blue Chew. Blue Chew delivers the same active ingredients as Viagra, Cialis, Levitra at just a fraction of the cost in a chewable form. They make it easy for you, not only to get, of course, the what do you call it? The Blue Chew to your front door without any of those awkward situations where you have to sit in front of a doctor and tell you what's going on. You can do it. The process, it's very discreet. Go to bluechew.com, consult with one of their licensed medical providers. And once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription within days. The Blue Chew tablets are made in the U.S. and prepared and shipped directly to your door. And the best part, it's all done online. Nobody has to know about it, and it's going to be quick. It's going to be convenient. It's going to be dropped right at your doorstep that you can scoop right up and then bring right into your home to where you can get to work. You love it. Does it work? Don't think you need it. Try it for free for a month and see. You're going to love it. Your partner's going to love it even more. You could be missing out on the best SEX of your life. That's right. We love our friends over at Blue Chew. Man everywhere excited to see the postman when they get their package delivered. Your package has arrived. Now you get a special for our listeners, our viewers. Try Blue Chew for free when you see the promo code ALLCITY at a checkout. You just pay $5 in shipping. BlueChew.com, promo code ALLCITY. That's all one word, ALLCITY, and receive your first month free. Visit BlueChew.com for more details and important safety information. We thank Blue Chew for sponsoring PHNX Cardinals.
Damon, did you see that clip that went viral? Adam Schefter talking about breaking scoops. You think he was using some Blue Chew, Damon?
Had to be, right? I mean, I feel like Shefty only gets up for big NFL news these days.
That was one of the most self-serving, grossest things.
And then Jay Glazer's like, yeah, who hasn't? And you're
Me too, brother.
That's why we're a rap sheet show here.
That's right.
He would never.
Rap sheet has some class.
He does. He has some class. He knows nobody wants that to enter their mind when they're just trying to get their football news. Was this tweeted out while in the throes of passion from some gross NFL reporter?
Rap sheet knows that kids are at home watching.
That's right. This is a family show, just like this one right here. Drop a like. I'll tell you what's a family event coming out with us, a chicken and pickle for a little bit of pickleball tournament coming up. Bo reluctantly said he would be my partner. Will he follow through with that? Find out more in December as we host our second annual chicken and pickle outing. I'm so fired up for this one. Myself, my father, we made it to the Final Four, and it's coming back around. And I said, reluctantly, Bo, you're going to pair with me, and we're going to get after it December 14th. We don't know who Damon Dawg is paired up with yet, but we've doubled the field since our first tournament. 48 teams this year. All skill levels are welcome, even while we'll be on the elite side of things. PHNX prize giveaways, food and drink specials, proceeds, and this is what really counts. Go to Operation Santa Claus, the annual donation drive that collects food, toys, children's clothing. Again, monetary donations, everything, including St. Mary's Food Bank, Special Olympics Arizona, all the good stuff. You want to sign up right now? Go to gophnx.com/events. Sign up right now. Become a diehard. Get some money off of that. Chicken and pickle, December 14th. We want to see you there. They are out in Glendale, Bo.
We love it. Cannot wait. Should be elite as far as the vibes out there, the competition. It's going to be unbelievable. Cardinals, big time game on Sunday. We bring on our very fine colleague, reporter, Cardinals beat reporter Craig Morgan jumps onto the show to start to preview this game, get into the importance of it, Craig. We talked about it a little bit, touched on it, but the Cardinals, they are in control of their own destiny. A win puts them in the driver's seat. A loss could kind of murky the waters a little bit.
Oh, we got you on mute, brother. Hang on one sec. Oh,
yep.
There we go.
There are a lot of storylines that you can talk about in this game. We're wondering when Darius Robinson will finally make his debut. Is Geno Williams going to play? How's Rabbit going to do? How's Garrett Williams going to do in this game? We'll talk about that later. I got a nice little tip from Bo Brack for my key matchup in the game. But to me, guys, this comes down to the biggest storyline of all. They have a chance to just seize control of the NFC West this week. We know that Brock Purdy's not going to play. We know that the Eagles are in LA and they're red hot. They've won 6 straight. If the Cardinals can win this game and everything plays out according to people's dreams, it could be not just a 2-game lead. It'll be a 3-game lead in the division because they will have beaten all 3 of those teams. They'll own the first tiebreaker in a division title scenario, and they'll have a leg up on, winning the best record in the division as well, tiebreaker, because you've got 3 wins under your belt already. This is such a pivotal game in the Cardinals season. I mean, we've talked about this 5-game stretch a lot. They got a chance to lock this thing up before they even face the 49ers and Rams in the last 2 weeks of the season. What a story that would be.
Yeah, and that was my next point, Craig, is like, you take care of business, and we've all looked at the schedule at nauseum. There's 7 games left. 4 games gets it done. And brother, you win those 4 games before those final 2 weeks of the regular season. And instead of playing for the division, you're probably playing for playoff seeding. Like, they beat the Seahawks twice, which again, it's a pick 'em this weekend. They're going to be favored in Arizona. If you mix in a Minnesota win, great. But then you've got Carolina and New England, 2 teams that you ought to beat, handedly. I mean, like, it just says something like, as great as the Rams people want to make them out to be, and the Lazarus man coming back from the dead time and time again, like, the Rams have nothing to do with this. The 49ers have nothing to do with this. It does not matter. Cardinals can get this done here within the next calendar month.
I can't believe we're even talking about this.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Do you remember how we all felt after the Green Bay game? What were you guys thinking after the Green Bay game in terms of the direction of this team?
Not good things.
We felt like, hey, like, did we misdiagnose some things? Did we think that this team, because that was an uncompetitive game. It was the second competitive game and second time in 3 weeks.
Yep.
And we thought, man, do we really kind of misread things here? Is this team not even going to do what it did last year and be competitive in week in and week out?
Yeah.
Where was it a lost season and we're just going to have to bide our time for another season until maybe things will click under Jonathan Gannon and crew? But man, did they figure it out by scratching and clawing against the Chargers team on Monday night. That was the beginning of this 4-game win streak, and here we are now. Cardinals are 6-4 with a chance to push it to 7-4. It really is. It was unforeseen, I think, from almost all parties that follow this team.
I almost want the Packers to come back here in a playoff game to just complete that circle for a story. Like, I'm already thinking ahead to my playoff lead, to my playoff advance.
Yeah.
What happened after week 6? What changed after week 6? Here they are facing the Packers once again, but I won't get too far ahead of myself with that one. But again,
it's Cliff, by the way. Yeah. It's Cliff in the postseason that we will exhaust the demons later in January. But go ahead. I interrupted you, Craig.
You're not predicting a second half collapse? No?
Well, I'm predicting a blowout in the playoffs if the Cardinals were to face Washington. I do think that Washington's going to struggle. I think if that continues on this weekend, it becomes more of a national talking point. I've got them on our hold or fold the line losing to Dallas, which would be wild. Wow. But yeah, okay. I do. I mean, I've seen this before. Like, we talk about the Cardinals are trying to do something we haven't seen before, but I have seen Cliff Kingsbury's offenses and what they look like post Thanksgiving, and they are bad. They're not a good team. Yeah,
really, Johnny? I'd like to see your historical data on that, Johnny.
Yeah, it's all over the internet. It's on the Twitter streets. Any graphic you can find. Cliff Kingsbury early in the season, pretty good. Late
Did somebody help Cliff find it? Because he clearly wasn't able to find it when he was asked about it. So
yeah, he was I don't know. We'll see.
The game on Sunday can push this Cardinals team in several different directions. So it really is wild. Like, if they lose and they fall to 6-5, and then they're headed on the road against one of the top teams in the NFC and the Vikings, like a very real reality of your record falling even by over the next 2 weeks. You win this week, you give yourself a bit of a buffer, not only overall, but especially in the NFC West standings. You're not in cruise control necessarily, but you're in a position where you're building and building upon each week. Where if you lose, I think it's just you're scratching and clawing the entire rest of the way out. Like, there's no givens at all. Where I think you can create a bit of a certainty with a win. I was reading your Outside the Nest article this morning, and it always goes out, the Friday before the game. You talk to Athletics, Michael Sean, is it Duggar?
Yeah.
you guys talk about the coaches in this situation. And this was a quote from it. Says, the other thing that stands out is he's very much process driven over results. He does not want to get caught up in chasing a certain result and getting lost in the process. Who does that sound like?
Yeah, exactly like JG. That's what I thought as soon as he said it. Yeah. And it's a good way to approach things, right? Because as he mentioned later in that same quote, I don't think people account for how much luck factors into this game, just fluky plays. It's crazy how, and Bruce Arians always used to say this, there's a handful of plays in a game. If they go one way or the other, they'll decide the game. And you need to got guys to make plays. And sometimes guys just do step up and make those plays. But sometimes there's just bizarre stuff that happens in the NFL, and there's nothing you can do about it. So you have to remain focused on your process instead of saying, well, we lost that game, so clearly everything's screwed up and we need to change it.
Greg, we opened the show with our predictions as it relates to the 27th overall pick and whether or not he's poised to make his debut this weekend in Seattle. What's your opinion? Will we see Darius Robinson suit up on Sunday?
I can't imagine we're going to see him yet. It just feels too soon. I would guess that either the next week in Minnesota, or if you want to keep him out of the cold and bring him back home and let him start his first game at home, you do it against Seattle in that game. Look, maybe some of this depends too on what they do this week. What if they win this week and they feel like, yeah, you know what, let's get him another week of practice, get him comfortable before we put him in the lineup. But I have a hard time believing that with how much time he's missed and how little practice time he's had, that he's going to be out there on Sunday.
It was good to see the bonus practice. I think they did a good job in taking advantage of that, but limited throughout. And I know Geno Williams has been limited, but you've got a starter in place that's it's tough to get Beach out of the ones if you don't know if Jonah's how you're going to fit him back into the rotation. You can keep Geno Williams limited on the injury report, where I think Darius, it's a legit limited practice reps that he's getting as he eases back into this. But it's just it would be nearly unprecedented with, like, Kyler Murray. They even took their time. Garrett Williams, they took their time. Like, the only guys that went from the IR directly back in the lineup were guys like James Conner and Budda Baker. And a 27th overall guy, as excited as I think the entire organization and fan base is, he's not going to fit that exception to the rule that they have in place. It would be a welcome surprise. I want to see it just like anybody else. I'm with you. I think it's a long shot.
Yeah, Budda himself, he said he's going to be a game wrecker when he gets in there. But yeah, you're right. A rookie. I mean, you just talked about two guys who have veteran experience. They know what to prepare for. They know all the situations. So it's a lot different situation than what Darius Robinson would be facing in his NFL debut.
Well mentioned it. Check out Craig's most recent work at GoPHNX.com. Outside the Nest, Seahawks beat writer offers view from the other side. Again, it's a diehard level, which is worth it. Become a diehard at GoPHNX.com. Again, pick up a free hat and or shirt every single year. You are a diehard member. We've got so many new diehards we've welcomed over the last several weeks. A ton to this show in particular. Jump into the exclusive member Discord. Get 20% off all future orders at GoPHNX.com. Percentages off future events like our friends with Chicken and Pickle. Again, all that and more at GoPHNX.com. And since you're good, head over there anyway. If you're watching with us on one of our many streaming platforms on TV, jump on over to GoPHNX.com because, friends, at GoPHNX.com, it's time for predictions. Predictions for standout players of the game. It's been a hot minute, gentlemen, since we did this, and I'm going to turn things over to Mr. Craig Morgan. Who do you like on Sunday for the Arizona Cardinals?
Let me say this to our friends watching on the tube.
Okay.
Make sure you jump over to GoPHNX.com. You can continue and actually hear or watch our predictions as the party continues over there. But thank you for viewing. If this is where your journey ends, it was a great Friday episode with you all. But the party continues. GoPHNX.com.
All right, Craig, what do you got for us?
All right, we're going to roll this thing up there. All right. On offense, I know this isn't much of I'm not really going out on a limb here, but listen, guys, it's going to rain. It's Seattle. When I looked at my weather app last week, there were falling blue lines for 10 straight days, and there's about a 90% chance of rain at game time. Ball security, grip, slipping feet, they're all going to be issues. Jonathan Gannon said the Cardinals learned some things from the torrential downpour they faced in their joint practices in Indy. With the weather an issue, here's a simple formula for success. The Cardinals are 5-1 when James Conner has at least 100 yards from scrimmage, 1-3 when he doesn't. He has one fumble this season, but it wasn't lost. In fact, Trey McBride recovered in the end zone for a TD. The point here, good things happen with the running of the bull. James Conner's my pick on offense. On defense, and I got to give the shout out to Bo Brock for looking this up for me. You know what I'm going here, right? Nearly 87% of Jaxon Smith-Njigba's routes are run from the slot. You know who patrols the slot for the Cardinals, right? The guy who's been their most consistent cornerback this season. The guy I think Johnny was shouting out on Twitter maybe today or yesterday. 2023 third-round pick Garrett Williams. This is a huge matchup in this game and a huge test for one of the brightest young pieces of this defense's future. For my X, I'm going with Barrett Browning. I know he put in a lot of time over the bye week. Other than grabbing some clothes back in Colorado, I think that's all he did. I'm not going to make any big pronouncements here for sack totals, but given where this pass rush has been, Browning has the opportunity to cement a role for himself off the edge by simply affecting the quarterback through pressures and hurries. We're not asking a lot here. The bar is low.
Sacks are not a winning stat, Craig. Jonathan Gannon said that yesterday. I don't know if you were there for that. You heard that.
I did.
I like it. So you know what? Mine mirror Craig's pretty well there because I'm
Really?
with you. Let's take a look at mine. James Conner. This is everything that points to a JC day. Conner over 400 yards from scrimmage in 4 games against the Seahawks in his Cardinals career. 27th against the run. Cardinals up front, offensive line fresh to go. Maybe even the addition of Geno Williams. They're going to be ready to go and move people. James Conner poised for a big day. So give me number 6 as my offensive star. I'm going to stick with Craig in the slot with Garrett Williams. He's been their best defensive player this year, continues to be, and he's got a big assignment as far as this Seattle Seahawks second overall passing attack. So give me G. Will. And then as far as that run game, I'm going to continue to look there with the X factor. Can Trey Benson continue his success the last 2 games that he's had for the rookie player, 3rd round out of Florida State? Can he continue to help the Cardinals ground and pound and maybe salt this game away in the second half? Give me big number 33 as my X factor.
Man, I hope it's Trey Benson because I've been waiting to write a story on him for like 5 weeks. So.
I like all your picks.
I thought about DJ Dallas in his return too, but with the coaching staff change, there wasn't enough there.
Do we feel like, and I got to get to my predictions here, but like we sleeping on Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't have Marv in my top 3. I don't know what Damon is planning on unveiling, but sometimes when we feel like they're going to go one way, they go the opposite way. So I'm just keep that in your back pocket. Take a look at my predictions again. Chalk. Chalk it up here. James Conner, the offensive star, 3 for 3. And again, it feels like Cardinals can beat you in so many different ways. And again, if the weather's all right, I've watched Kyler Murray tear it up in Chicago a couple of years ago with D-Hop. Like, I don't know. I think the mindset of this team is we're going to run the football on the road just like they did in Pittsburgh, just like they did in Philadelphia last year. But if there are opportunities in the passing game, I wouldn't be surprised if K1 had a big week. I, too, like Craig, I think we get a big game out of Baron Browning. And again, I'm not anti-Baron Browning. I would love to see him prove me wrong, get a couple sacks this week, and I'm doing something stupid on this live stream a week from now to honor his outing. But pressures aren't going to get it done. Put Geno Smith in the turf. Put him on the ground, right? The minute Nick Bosa exited that game last week, Geno Smith made himself a cup of coffee against the Niners front 7 and did whatever he wanted. It was gross. We can't allow that. Baron Browning, the target is on your back, my friend. Go out there. Xavier Thomas has looked exceptional in the last 2 weeks. Zaven Collins has 3 sacks. Those 3 guys collectively, if the Cardinals let Geno Smith go off, it's an indictment of those 3 players. And I think they get it done, led by Browning. And lastly, we talked about the big explosives that weren't there for San Francisco when we had Brian Baldinger on earlier this week. And the Juwan Jennings had a good day. Well, who does that remind me of? Michael Wilson. Michael Wilson underneath. Michael Wilson's due for a big game. Yes, Trey's going to get his. Yes, Marvin's going to go up against Devon Witherspoon. It would not surprise me at all. Michael Wilson, who did well against Seattle in the finale last year, he had almost 100 yards, his best career day, had a touchdown in that game. Would love to see part of the program, friend of the program, Michael Wilson, ball out against Seattle. I actually think it's going to happen.
Yeah, the last game we saw Michael Wilson play against Seattle in the finale, he had a great game. He almost went over 100 yards.
Yes, he did. Damon, Dawg, what do you got for us, my guy?
I have the upset of all upsets. You guys have never heard this one before. I'm going with Trey McBride, offensive star. That's right. I know I caught you all off guard. He continues to be the best player on this team. I'll say it week after week. He's just incredible. I don't care if it's raining. Get him the football. Target him 10 times a game. It leads to success. The best teams, we see this in the NFL recently, like last decade. The best teams tend to have the best tight ends. I don't think that's like a shock or like a coincidence, I should say. Like Gronk on the Patriots, Travis Kelce on the Chiefs. The Ravens have Mark Andrews. I mean, it really does seem to have a really positive correlation to having an elite tight end and having a good record. I'm going to continue to feed Trey McBride. For defensive star, I'm going Mac Wilson. Baldy mentioned that he thinks Kazir White will have a big day when we interviewed him on Wednesday. I'm going to stick with the linebacker core there. And honestly, I think that the receivers on the Seahawks are kind of going to get theirs. I'm not sure that anyone's going to be able to really stifle that passing attack, but I do think that there's an opportunity to completely take away their running game. And that's where my X factor comes in for Baron Browning. I think you need the Seahawks O-line is one of the worst in the league. There's opportunity to create pressure here. I'd like to see Baron Browning maybe get home on a sack, Zaven Collins as well, and get that pass rush going.
I like it. You know, to kind of piggyback Johnny's point about Marvin Harrison Jr., who admitted at his locker earlier this week that they started to expand the playbook and he's getting more and more comfortable. Juwan Jennings, who runs the ex-receiver for the 49ers, had 10 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown last week against the Seahawks team. So it could be an opportunity for Marv to continue off of what he did, a very efficient 5 catches for over 50 yards and a touchdown in the Cardinals' last game against the Jets.
I got 2 questions for you guys. One, do you buy what Seattle was able to do coming out of the bye week? Do you believe in this defense? I know San Francisco's without like half the Pro Bowl roster in that game. Yeah. So I definitely factor that into it. But do you like what the guy I talked to, the beat writer for The Athletic said was that they were playing cleaner defense. They were in their gaps.
Sure.
And there were a lot less mistakes. This is a team that's been penalized heavily. They took 1 penalty in that game. Are you buying it, or is that an anomaly?
I think it's fair to ask the question with all new regimes, like, has this team like turned a corner and really embraced what Mike McDonald is preaching, specifically defensively? Like offensively, like I think they're just kind of an enigma, kind of back and forth because of how erratic Geno can be. But like, I think it's fair to like ask, like, hey, is the Seahawks defense like turning the corner? You know, they've given up a fair amount of points to teams like the Bills and, you know, the Niners in their first matchup. They gave up 29 points to Daniel Jones. But last week, Craig, to your point, like specifically their run defense was pretty good given what they've been giving up. They've gotten up on average over 150 yards per game. They were underneath that. And Purdy was relatively average, but he had a bum shoulder too. I think we will know everything we need to know about Seattle after this game. I think if the Cardinals take them to the woodshed and beat them, their season is over. And I think they'll come to State Farm Stadium and get a butt kicking there. But if they somehow beat the Cardinals, you're going to give this team new life. Like, this is who we are now. We've won 2 in a row. We're buying in. You're going to get all those crap puff pieces on Mike McDonald. Like, don't let that happen. And this charade, they don't have a franchise quarterback. They're erratic on offense. Like, they're not any good. This is not a good team. You're better than them. You should win this game. But if they beat you, you give them false hope, Bo.
Well, what is it? Gannon says he doesn't know if momentum exists, but he knows that confidence can carry over. And, you know, getting a win like Seattle did, that can build on confidence. Even though you look at the entire picture of the game, they had six points going into halftime. They were pretty... They didn't have a whole lot going on offense going into the locker room and then throw a pick right out of to start the second half. Like, they were almost done last week. And then, you know, they score 2 out of the last 3 drives. They get into the end zone against, as you mentioned, Johnny, a Bosa-less defense. So, you know, they took advantage of that, but could they continue to, if you give them life, if you give them an opportunity to continue to get right, it's like what we saw with the Cardinals. We talk about them 2-4, dead in the water, but then they're able to get, you know, scratch and claw their way back into these games, and you give them an opportunity. they can find their way. I think they have enough talent in order to do so. Can the Cardinals kind of keep their foot on the gas here and keep this team down? That's going to be important for Jonathan Gannon and his squad.
I just want to make a quick point here, too. The momentum killers have been the Cardinals on this recent streak. So if you go back, the Chargers were as hot as any team, and they've been hot. What's their one kind of blemish? They lost to the Cardinals, right? Then Miami, they get Tua back. We were all there. Big emotional day, right? They had the lead, lost to the Cardinals. What about the next week? The Jets beat Houston on Thursday Night Football, have 10 days off. They lose to the Cardinals. And then, of course, the Bears are the Bears. We put them aside. But, like, the Cardinals have done a good job taking the best right hook from these teams that come in feeling themselves. Like, I think that they can continue. I think they pride themselves in that. Last year, they beat a very viable Pittsburgh team and a Philadelphia team at the end of the year that had everything to play for. So, to me, it's just, Craig, I go back to, can this defense show up outside of State Farm Stadium? It's great that they've reestablished home field advantage at their own stadium. That's been sorely needed. And next week, they're kind of playing with house money against Minnesota, and we'll get to that. Can this defense go into Seattle and like hold them to under 20 points? Because if so, they're winning this game.
Yeah. There's 2 streaks in this game. The Cardinals have lost 5 straight games to the Seahawks. Seahawks have lost 4 straight at home. I can't believe you've lost 4 straight at home, first of all, but it makes you a little uneasy thinking, really, is this going to last? One of those streaks is obviously going by the wayside. Yeah. I don't know what to think of Seattle quite yet. I know there's some people that are downplaying the fact that the 49ers had half their roster out of that game.
Yeah.
You do what you do. You win games. That's all you can do with the games on your schedule. But I can't help thinking those guys are in the lineup. This is a different story. And the Cardinals are going into Seattle.
Loss.
Yeah. And the Seattle's dead already if that happens. They're going in to face a dead team at that point.
The end of 21 was part of that streak. It was Russell Wilson's last game as Seahawks quarterback. That was a game that the Cardinals, it was brutal. It was the writing was on the wall that the next week in the playoffs was going to be a disaster. And then you've got just 2 bad Cardinals teams back-to-back seasons, 22 and then 23. They should have actually won the finale in 23, but our savior, Matt Prater, missed 2 kicks to put the Cardinals in a position, drop them and solidify the 4th overall spot to get Marvin Harrison Jr. Like, that was a very winnable, I think a lot of Cardinals fans look at that game as a win.
I just want to add, it was absolutely a win. I want to add quickly, back to last week, Bowen, Craig, and Damon. We're watching, everybody watched that game. The Niners were winning 17-13, had a first down and 10 on Seattle's 46-yard line with about 3 minutes left. The game was over. The game was absolutely over. Then what happened? They lost yards on first down. McCaffrey looks like a shell of himself. Purdy had an incomplete pass that he overthrew to Debo, and then he missed Juwan. He had a short little pass for 5 yards to Juwan Jennings. 4th and 6, they punted back to Geno Smith, and their defense was exhausted because no Nick Bosa. That game was over. We all thought it was over. ESPN Analytics had it like 90% over. Like, the Niners, with half a roster, gifted that to Seattle. Seattle didn't take that game from them. Like, so the Cardinals, I think, can feel very confident, not publicly, but privately, that they can go into Seattle and have their way with them. Nothing suggests, like, outside of the Seahawks skill players, which we highlighted, going off, there's no reality in which, like, the Cardinals don't win this game.
The other thing I wanted to ask you before we roll into hour 3 of the show, I heard Baldy's opinion on this. If Jonah's ready to go, how do you play this?
Well, give us your opinion. We've already given our opinion.
I think a rotation makes sense initially. Maybe you want to see how the knee reacts. You don't want to throw him out there for, the normal snaps that he would face as a starter while you're getting a sense of what he can give you. But I don't agree that Kelvin Beachum should keep the job. You go with your best players.
Wow.
You go with your best players. And Jonah Williams was clearly the guy that they thought was their best player at the start of the year. Put him back at right tackle. If he's 100%, or when he gets to 100%, he's got to be your guy. And Beach is okay with that. Beach will go back to being what he's been the last couple of seasons. He's a versatile guy who can fill in whenever needed. He approaches it the right way, approaches it like a pro. So that's not going to be an issue at all. I just think you play your best players, the guys that give you the best chance to win.
I mean, a huge credit. I mean, we give all the credit to Beach, and he deserves it all.
Love the guy.
Nobody anticipated this after Jonah went down in game 1 and Beachum struggled playing against the Bills, and everybody's like, oh my God, like the season's lost. They're not going to be able to protect Kyler Murray. And what does Calvin Beachum do? He puts together an unbelievable run between this week 2 and now. And it's forcing the issue where the fan base is like, no, you can't replace Beach. But people forget that, yeah, Jonah Williams was outright. He was the top free agent addition, I think, this offseason. I don't think anybody can argue that. And he had this team in this, every time Jonah Williams was in on the offensive line to start the season, they scored a touchdown. Like there's tremendous upside, and a credit to Clayton Adams for making it, no matter who's in there, this offensive line being able to protect Kyler Murray. But I think that Jonah Williams solidifies things even more so than it's been the last couple of weeks. I don't think you're really tampering with the chemistry or the continuity of the offensive line by reinserting Jonah Williams, your best right tackle, back at his starting spot.
If you're going to do it this week, because Jonah Williams is a plus run blocker, whereas Calvin Beachum probably a better pass pro. What are the Cardinals going to do? They're going to try to run the ball 50 times this weekend. I need to see Jonah Williams, if he plays, putting Leonard Williams in the third row of the stadium, because the Seattle's best players play the interior offensive line. Jonah Williams ought to be able to handle the edge rushers for Seattle on passing down. So I do think, though, if they don't play him this weekend and you go into Minnesota next week, who they have Jonathan Grenard and some plus edge rushers, Dallas Turner, you better be careful. You either rip the Band-Aid off or stick with Beach. But we're going to rip the Band-Aid off here on a Football Friday. We got 1,000 people watching almost. Drop a like here on YouTube. If you're not watching on YouTube, jump on over, get in the comments. It's rowdy. We're fired up. Can the Cardinals win their 5th straight for the first time since 2021? Damon, cue it up, my friend. This is what we're saying here on PHNX Cardinals Roundtable. What do we got for game predictions?
Do we want to see our overall record so far this season? We're getting a little bit better, Johnny.
I don't want to see it.
Is it embarrassing?
Yeah,
I want to do that.
Embarrassing for some of us.
I can't believe we even have a graphic. I'm disgusted.
All right, Damon, let's see it. I feel like mine's incorrect. I feel like I've called more than that.
We don't know ball, and people should not watch this show.
Damon, mine is incorrect. I've gotten more than 3 right.
Nice job, Craig. Your first year on the beat, you're the most accurate.
We are the NFC West circa 2008. Look at these records. Wow. Just brutal. I don't feel good about leading the pack with 500.
Why did we create this? Delete this from the internet.
Yes. Make this go away right now.
There was
people are tuning out in droves. Right. But we're hot. The group is hot, though.
We are hot. I think we've gotten 2 dubs in a row, all of us. I'm pretty sure we all picked the Cardinals to beat the Packers, or to beat the Jets and the Bears. Johnny, I'm pretty sure, didn't you start off 0-6?
I've won 4 games. I think I've won 4 or 5.
3-7 is great after starting 0-6, brother.
Get that off the screen forever. Let's take a look at this week's prediction as we burn that graphic into oblivion here. Wow, a clean sweep for the fellas, yet your boy is going with the most robust of spreads. Tease it up, baby, with Bet365. I'm going Cardinals 28, Sea Chickens 21 in a game that is not as close as the score would indicate. I think the Cardinals are going to go in to a kind of a little bit of an irate situation with their fan base there, loud with the 12s, and I think the perfect thing to shut up the fans at, what is it, MetLife? Not MetLife, whatever their stadium's called.
Lumen Field.
Seagulf Stadium or whatever it is. How about a 12-play drive with 7 rushes from James Conner? If you remember the opening drive against Buffalo, James Conner touched the ball, I think, every single possession or every single play en route to the Michael Wilson touchdown. I think we're going to see something similar. I love the addition, Bo, that you had with your X Factor with Trey Benson. I think Trey Benson looked exceptional right before the bye. I would not be surprised if we saw an explosive touchdown run for Trey Benson. I'm not buying Seattle. I don't think they're any good. I think that this is the last week they're viable, that we have to talk about them. And I think the Cardinals win this game handily, Bo.
Huge opportunity for the Cardinals. I have them win 26-22. Maybe the final score isn't as indicative as the game. Maybe the Seahawks tack one on at the end. But yeah, the Cardinals have the opportunity to kind of keep their foot on the gas here. And as you mentioned, put one of their division foes down even further and separate themselves in the NFC West. I think that the team's focused enough. At least they've said all the right things leading into this game, Craig. So I like the Cardinals 26-22.
All right. checked in with the great Shane Diefenbach right before I sent this score prediction. The Cards are favored by 1, and the point total is 47.5, courtesy of Bet365 and Shane Diefenbach. So you can see what I'm doing. I'm going with the Cardinals in a tight one. Might be Chad Ryland time again in this game, but I do think they win this game. And boys, if they win this game, the things we are going to be talking about, the heady things that we are going to be discussing when the Cardinals come home after a win in Seattle.
Don't ever ask Shane Diefenbach anymore about Cardinal Seahawks games.
As Shane walks up and
I'll say it to his face.
Is it fair to say I bullied the Seahawks into that win last week? I feel like the Seahawks were so lifeless, and I just started bullying Shane, who's an extension of the Seahawk 12, that they were losers, that they have never won anything, that Mike McDonald shouldn't even have a job. And then they rallied, and I feel like that was the kind of motivation for them. And now I have motivation for my Cardinals. I will bully the Cardinals into winning this game. Damon, why do you like the Cardinals?
I'm on camera, but he'd like to say something in his own defense.
John, what is wrong with you? Do you feel like a bigger man putting people down?
Yes, that's what we do here. Are you new here?
I guess so. Apparently,
this is the DNA of the show.
Keep doing that. No, it's good. It's good.
We got 900 people watching right now.
You guys.
Ready to bring you down.
I feel really big now. 400 people. I hate all of you guys. Bringing them all of them down.
You feel like a big man?
Yeah, I'm huge. I'm huge, John.
Shane's the guy that helps you with your homework, and you still get a failing grade with that help for Craig. Craig, look at your record for the season. You don't need anybody's assistance.
Buddy, I've been getting assistance all along.
That's probably why he's 5-5. Right. I'll round it out here. I think this game's really close. I think you get the Seahawks' best shot. Not that that's like anything crazy, but it would essentially, I feel like, knock the Seahawks out of playoff contention. So they're going to be, treating this like it's the Super Bowl. The Cardinals, I think if they win this game, will win the division. I'm willing to say that and make that a prediction. So I think it's really going to come down to a close game, and the Cardinals pull it out because they're just a better football team.
Love it, Damon, Dawg. It's a clean sweep for your boys. We have been the Cardinals win, we would be 12 for our last 12 collectively since the matchup against the Chicago Bears, Jets, Bears, and potentially now the Seattle Seahawks. Let's get to super chats. T Clearly, $4.99. Hope to change the Call of Duty narrative from lazy media. No more disrespect. Why? I think Kyler's already done that, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, his stats since the last Call of Duty dropped are pretty impressive. You'd love to see it go that direction instead of before that. Thanks for the super chat there. How about, who is this? I can't read it from here. There it is. Goont. Yeah, I didn't want to get that one wrong. You could go several different horrible ways.
That's close.
Seahawks have won against low quarterback pressure teams, much as Miami, Atlanta, and New England. Do you think the Cardinals will change the script on top of Robinson and Browning?
Johnny thinks they have to. And listen, Geno's going to make some mistakes, right? Geno has made mistakes this season. You got to create that situation. You got to create pressure.
If they try to rush 4, they're going to lose this game.
I thought they did a pretty good job in the finale last year. Really kind of held that offense at bay for the bulk of the second half. Now they folded when they needed a stop at the end of the game, where they got the go-ahead score. But I think this is a little bit more talented team. The offense is in a better spot to where they can create more of a lead than they had against it. They had to come back against that Seahawks team in the finale last year. Should be able to gain a lead in this one. PR Mac, $2. This is a pound the rock game. Strength, ball control, clock, time of possession. I see those emojis there. I'm just trying to guess what those all mean, but thank you, PR Mac. And then Dad's drinking again. $4.99. How about we can officially dance on the 49ers grave? Need to shut down K9. We should be able to dominate the line of scrimmage. By the way, nice hat, Johnny, you cutie patootie.
Hey, thanks so much. Dad's drinking again. We hope to be hanging with you. Maybe you can come out and drink with us at Gila River Resorts and Casinos, Wild Horse Pass, this Sunday. We can all look cute together. I think I'm going to bust out my throwback Cardinals jacket. If it's not too hot,
Wow.
I've got from our friends at Homage. It's a pretty fire jacket, and I'd like to start a new streak with it. But we gotta take care of business in the meantime, which means liking this video, subscribing to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. We got so much good content, Bo, coming out this weekend in preparation for Sunday, including maybe a little chat with our friend Alex Clancy of Locked On Cardinals.
Little crossover action that's going to hit the YouTube streets tomorrow. And also, you can find, if you missed the predictions, you can find those as well. And then Craig Morgan's prediction or game preview is going to be up at gophnx.com. Craig, looking forward to that. And of course, safe travels to Seattle.
Yeah, I had a chance to talk with 6 different offensive linemen. The story will be about that. It's funny. I think I told you this, Bo, that I had this idea to write a story on the offensive line being the heart and soul of the team. And we talked to Kyler an hour later, and I asked him what he had learned, and he said, I've learned the heart and soul of the team. So I was like, okay, I'm on the right track here. Fun story, a lot of great quotes, a lot of personalities on this O-line. Looking forward to writing that one.
It's more than just the players, right? Because, I mean, they play a big role, but you've seen how interchangeable that is. I mean, on a day where we see DJ Humphries sign with the Kansas City Chiefs, even DJ's departure, and you had Will Hernandez's injury, Jonah Williams going down, who you added to that group, the revolving door at left guard last season. You've got Froholt and Paris Johnson Jr., who seem to be the constants there, and you thought Hernandez was too, and he continues to be even in his absence with an injury. Clayton Adams, his position group has been the most consistent of the Jonathan Gannon era.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
Illadre 199. How about this special boy? Tip Ryman's going to be an X factor. I mean, he's gonna play a lot, and I'd love for this to be a Tip Ryman muck it up game. Don't throw him any passes. Save those for sweet baby Trey. But Tip Ryman, lead back, fullback. I mean, does anybody think that the Seahawks can stop the Cardinal running game? I mean, if that's Seahawks recipe for success is to slow it down. I just don't think they can.
Yeah, they did it against the 49ers. That's why they held their running backs under 100 yards. It's the first time they've done it since 2021. And that's why I was asking earlier, is this for real? But like you said, Johnny, we're going to find out. We're going to find out all we need to know about Seattle this weekend.
Are Christian McCaffrey's legs for real now?
Yeah,
I would say questionable.
That's fair.
I would say James Conner.
Talked to James Conner the other day too, Craig. I mean, he's got to be fired up for this chance and just how he's been rolling.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away on that story because I did have the chance to talk to him one-on-one for a story that I've been wanting to write for a while. But yeah, he's like, it's pretty obvious how key he is to their success. And this game just feels like the kind of game where he can just carry them.
We're going to get carried by all of you into this weekend of just prime Arizona Cardinal football. How about a big win and a James Conner win and then a James Conner contract extension like come Monday morning? That would just feed families, wouldn't it? Drop a like, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. Become a diehard, go PHNX.com. And as we mentioned earlier, everybody whip out your phone, mobile device, smartphone. How about that, Damon? He's got it. The QR code. Scan it right now on your phone, your mobile device, your computer, wherever you're at. Become a diehard and subscribe to the podcast. Cannot encourage you guys. Subscribe. Drop a comment down below. You guys think Darius Robinson's going to play? I'd love to eat crow on Sunday if it means Big D Rob 56 is back. We will be back with your definitive Arizona Cardinal pre-halftime post-game coverage. And of course, our guy Craig live from Seattle. For Damon, Craig, Bo, I'm Johnny Venerable. We'll see you this weekend at the game.
We all silly like the mayor.